I'd like to begin by paying my respect to the Aboriginal owners of the land upon which I live, the Camaragal people of the Eora Nation. I acknowledge my colleagues on the panel this evening, and I congratulate Heather on the launch of her new book, Women, Intimate Partner Violence and the Law. Earlier today, when Heather and I were swapping our notes for tonight, it became obvious that we both agree that storytelling is at the heart of the law. All too often, however, the stories of those who live on the margins of Australian society are absent from judgment. I was a second-year law student when the High Court delivered one of the most important decisions during the 20th century, which was Mabo and the state of Queensland. Almost 30 years later, my memories of the narratives about this watershed decision that were told at my law school remain vivid. For the most part, they were stories about what Australians had to lose from the belated recognition of native title. The stories that I and other Indigenous students clung to were rarely heard in our classrooms. First and foremost was the story of Mr. Mabo and his fellow plaintiffs, who waged an extraordinarily courageous 10-year battle. It was really a David and Goliath battle against the Bjelke-Petersen government. The recognition by the majority of the High Court that Australia was not and never had been terra nullius was another important story, but one that was invariably brushed aside. This experience taught me from a very early stage that those who exercise power in our law schools are the people who have the privilege of deciding what stories are heard and those that are ignored. Our book, Indigenous Legal Judgments, is important because it places the stories of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people in the centre. The scholars who reimagined the judgments told these stories with humility, grace, power. I am privileged to have worked alongside such talented, visionary colleagues. Thank you and good night.